Hey guys, just want to welcome you to episode 22 of the Angry Advocate podcast. Um, my name is Ed. I am the guitar player for Death's Hand and the owner of Advocate Media.
And hi, everyone. Welcome back. I am Ash, the owner of Angry Ginger Photography. Super excited for this week's episode. We are having another band on the show. I realize I said it was our second, but this is actually our third almost full band. We have 3 of 4 members of Billy with us today.
Hey,
everyone.
what's going on?
How's it going, guys?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you guys just want to introduce yourselves and say what you do in the band?
So I'm Jerry Vanderpool. I'm the guitar player of Billy.
I'm Anthony Ballatier. I play drums.
I'm Blake Manyhart, bass.
Amazing.
Nice. And your vocalist is
our vocalist is Brian McDonald.
off doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
vocalists are.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. We get it. I totally get it. Nice. Cool. Yeah, really appreciate you guys coming on. Heard and seen a decent amount about you guys, so definitely cool to have you on and kind of run through some questions, get to know you guys a little bit better. So that's going to be exciting. So definitely excited for this episode. So
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, we're stoked to catch up.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. I guess we'll just jump in right into question 1. How long has Billy been a band, and how did you come up with the name originally?
Yeah, so we became a full band in 2023. Myself, Jerry, and our former guitar player, Tim, we had been working on it since like 2021. But it just took a while to find the pieces, post-COVID and all that. But, eventually we got Blake on bass. I was putting up flyers around Alston. I was going to do vocals at the time. We were looking for a drummer and bassist, but ended up getting him and ended up eventually getting Brian, which we knew previously. So we got him on vocals. I was on drums, and we were ready to rock. The name's kind of funny. So Billy, we always thought it's kind of like an international character, like any TV show, movie, like there's always a Billy in the situation. And it's typically like this kind of nerdy, derpy, or like he's usually fucking things up, right? So there's just kind of like an inside joke along with that. And people seem to be digging it though. So, yeah.
When I first joined, I thought it was short for like hillbilly. That's it took me a long time until I even found out what it meant.
Yeah, I think we just like that it's like a representation of like a quirky, weird kid. And it's, in hardcore, especially a lot of bands like, they take things so seriously, and coming up with a band name is almost kind of silly in itself, right? Like, I feel like so many times we've been working on music and been like, what are we going to call it? We really like the reaction. A lot of people get a kick out of it. So yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things where, like, when I first heard about you guys, I was like, oh, okay, like that's an interesting name choice. And then but then like I saw some videos of you guys, and I was like, okay, like I don't know, it felt right, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know, like it's really hard to explain. It's
funny because we dealt with like, it might be hard to find us on the internet, but now like, doing the Billy from Boston thing, and we have our link tree on like hellyeahfuckyeah.net. So we really push our taglines, and it's cool because it shows, you meet so many people when you play a weekend or whatever. It's hard to remember names. So it's easy when we meet people, we can just say, call all of us Bill, and we'll answer.
Yeah, for sure.
That's amazing.
One, I think it's funny because like a lot of people, put a lot of effort in to like have a specific band name, or for yourself to like, either, I don't know, have like a specific logo that's attached to your band, or just like whatever, like, you know what I mean? To kind of have something that makes you like a little bit different. And I think it's really funny to just have it be a name. and the fact that it's just Billy. Like it's just like a pretty playful name. Like, so it's just kind of interesting, like for your like your genre of music. And then like, I don't know, it's cool. I totally dig it. And I mean, like I said, I've heard about you guys from plenty of people, different people that I know. So, I mean, obviously, like, what you guys have been doing and the name definitely stands for itself. I think kind of pushes you guys a little forward, which is cool. So hey, if it works, it works, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Absolutely.
That's
And
awesome.
like the way you're talking about it, that like just shows like it's doing exactly like what you want the name to be doing.
Exactly. Yeah, we feel very very fulfilled.
And there's always something to talk about. At every show we play, someone always comes up and goes, "All right, which one's Billy?"
Yeah.
Actually,
I'm sure. I'm not surprised by that at all. Like, it's got to be the lead singer. He's probably the most arrogant one. Are you Billy? No. Like, that's awesome.
So talking about all the places you go, everyone asks about Billy. Question 2, what is one of your favorite venues that you've played so far? And you can each have different answers. That's fine.
So oddly enough, I would go out on a limb to say I really enjoyed playing Rat Trap, which was out in Holyoke, because it's pretty much just like a practice space, right? It's just like
I have been there. I saw Balmora there like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're very big on like, we like that we show up to venues sometimes like you don't really know what to expect. Sometimes you're like, are kids even going to show up? And that was a show, our friend Felix, who played in the band Robbery at the time, I think he's in Vomit Dolls now, he invited us out. We showed up just to play the room. We feel like we're at practice, but just it's a nicer room. Great. There's holes in the walls from the show the night before because obviously kids go crazy. And then just a boatload of kids from Amherst showed up to go nuts. And like we had videos of everyone. We're very much like a headbang groove band, not necessarily like crazy moshing, but everyone in the room was moving. It was a vibe. We really like playing like small venue DIY stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, and Rat Trap is sick. That like random wooden hallway to get to the bathrooms and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That place is wild.
Right. Anything that's just a warehouse, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. That bring shows back to practice spaces. That's sick.
Exactly.
Yeah, so similarly, I guess I'll say we played our first show at this place, Distant Castle in Worcester, Massachusetts, and in the area, it's like very known and has been going on for years. And it's funny because when we were like starting the band, we were like, oh, I'd be so sick to have a first show in a basement. And we ended up playing with, bands like Halo Bite. Was Death to Fire on that?
No, Death to Fire was on that, but Phagocyte was, and Robbery before they broke up.
And
Sync, of course.
Yeah, Sync, RIP. But it was just a really cool way to like get us going and like play with awesome bands and start to meet people and things like that. So yeah, I really dug that.
That's awesome. And some of the best people. I went to high school with the drummer of Halo Bite in New York, which is wild.
No kidding. Yeah, I watched that episode and I remember you guys were talking about having to see each other in a bit.
My mom was our bus driver. It was great. Yeah, so it's like all worlds like coming together. Yeah.
Yeah, you set up a show for them at Bad Burger, right?
Yeah, this Saturday I'm having my first show and they're the headliner.
That's awesome.
Sick.
Oh, congrats.
That's Bad Burger's. Bad Burger's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, that venue in itself was amazing, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
What you got, Blake?
So I can't really speak on the Rat Trap. That's the one show I wasn't able to play. That's the one time I wasn't there. And apparently it was very cool. But no, my answer was also going to be Distant Castle. Our first show, basement in Worcester. It's such a cool house. It's a huge house. You walk in and there's just massive rooms into rooms. And by the time people start filling in, it feels more like a house party. And you go downstairs, it's like a perfect basement for it.
Is this place still a thing? Because I've never.
Yeah, they're still doing shows there.
That's sick.
It's like at the top of this treacherous hill.
Yeah,
as long as you can survive over the neighborhood.
As long as you can park the van at the top of the hill in February, you're good.
It's like a perfect show house. It's got like the huge wraparound porch and big living rooms, comfortable basement. I think there was like a little kind of backyard or side yard area too.
Yeah.
That was our first show. Was definitely one of the most fun shows.
Yeah, and house shows are so back. We've been playing in Alston and
That's
Brighton.
all I want. That sounds sick.
we just played a house in Brighton.
Noya Complex.
It didn't even make sense to me how tall the ceiling of the basement was. It was like, I don't know how they put the foundation of this house in, but it went way down.
That's cool. Crazy.
Yeah,
I used to play a lot of house and basement shows. I was in a band. I played drums in a band called Red Medicine, and we used to play a lot, like almost all the stuff we played were DIY, like house basement shows. And some of those shows, even to this day, like are some of the best shows I've ever played. Like just audience wise, you know what I mean? Like because people they just go so crazy. Like I don't know, it's just different. Like
I think it's a different feeling of community in like a house show versus like going to, because a venue, it's like a lot of people just show up, pay the door fee or whatever. At a house show, it's, it's just a party, right?
Yeah.
Just hang out.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, I don't know. There's so many different things about that and playing like an actual venue, and it's fun. Like there's like a part of you is like, oh, hope I don't break anything. But then there's part of you is like, actually, I hope I do break something. You know what I mean? Like, there's, I don't know.
If Brian was here, he would say he never wants to play on a stage again.
Yeah.
Was Red Medicine named after the Fugazi record?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
nice.
We like
Fugazi record.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we played a lot of like the similar style stuff to that. Like, it was a lot of fun. One of my favorite bands that I've ever been in. And most talented bands that I've ever been in. But a lot of that like punk DIY, like that kind of stuff was very like we played. There's a couple of shows in Portland. I can't remember the name of that basement though we played. I'll try to remember it, but there was a specific house in Portland, Maine that we played, which is close to where I'm from.
Is this all you on drums during this time, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I was just playing drums. I play guitar in Death's Hand, and I've been playing guitar for a band for more recently, but I used to just play drums. Drums was like my main thing, and I made the switch, I don't know, a couple years ago. But yeah, I love that DIY like house show punk type thing. I don't know, it's got its own, like it's got very specific people. Like I don't know. Whenever I think about basement shows or house shows, I can picture the people that are in the house. You know what I mean? Like it's a different, like you said, it's a totally different vibe than a venue show. And I don't know, people just seem to be so much happier at house shows too. Like they're just in such a good mood, and it just like I don't know, it's infectious, really. Like you walk into a house show and everyone's just smiling and just super happy to be there, and you're like, that's so rad. Like not the venue shows aren't like that, but
that was like, if any of you heard of, or Ed, maybe you played it, the 5-9. Was Rob from Cytokines like house. He had shows in his basement and it was like his backyard, but it was exactly that. It was just like you hanging out with a bunch of your friends like at someone's house.
Yeah.
And there just happens to be a show going on.
Yeah. So much fun. Excuse me. Cool. We'll jump into question 3. Can you tell us about your recording process? What comes first? Guitars, drums, vocals, just anything on how you guys set to go into the recording studio?
So our first demo, actually, so we recorded ourselves. We got just like a basic interface, and we recorded a demo in 2021 of like the first 3 songs.
It's like a secret demo. It's out there, but it might be hard to find. But you can find it.
Because Anthony did vocals, and it was just me, Tim, and Anthony at the time, and that was what we used to kind of get Blake involved. And then come 2023. So Sync, as we mentioned, we love those guys, love that band, and they kind of reached out to us and they were trying to set up shows with us. They wanted us to play Distant Castle. So we got to a point where we're like, all right, we want to record this demo right. We're bringing Brian in. Brian's going to do vocals. Like we kind of have more of a full picture of what we're going to do. And so I actually, my barber in Marlboro, he lives in West Boylston. His name is Ned Barakat. He had on his property, he had an old chicken coop in his yard that he like tore everything out and built his own home studio. And he very much records just for his own benefit. Like he records like him and his kids playing music just for fun. Mm-hmm. And he's a punk. So he was like, hey, yeah, I mean, like if you want to come record for free, just you and Anthony come on down, bring the drum set. So we went out there for like a couple different sessions where we basically just tracked a lot of the stuff we've done. We've more or less tracked like we practice, right? Like we kind of try and play it live, get the drum sound, and then just like maybe punch in the guitar and bass after, and then vocals we'll track separately at the end. And so we did that to record our own demo with my barber in a chicken coop. And then we put that out, played our first show. And then from that point on, it's like things been a lot easier. We started going to the Bridge Sound and Stage, which Anthony's been there more than us, but working with Alex has been amazing. And then our last EP, we went to God City and worked with Zach Weeks, which
that's cool.
As you can imagine, was much more streamlined.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
from a chicken coop. That's amazing.
What's super cool about that, like first the chicken coop story, it sounds almost exactly like how my band Red Medicine recorded our stuff, like to a T. Like we didn't go in a chicken coop. We weren't not in a chicken coop, but
not to a T.
Yeah, like close, like very close. But we ended up recording in this, like it was an old room in one of the college buildings that we were in, and it was just this really super old room with like this built-in like piano into the wall, and like yeah, so like we mic'd the drums, we played the whole thing live, so we played guitar, bass, and drums live, and then we did vocals after it. And I to this day when I listen to that EP, I don't understand how it sounds as good as it sounds. Like it makes no sense to me. I'm like, I don't get it. Like our guitar player is the one who did all of the producing and editing or whatever you want to call it, like and mixing and mastering of it. And it's just like, I'm like, we literally recorded in a room and it sounds so cool. Like, and it definitely has like some very like, I don't want to say it's not in time because everything sounds really good, but like I think that's kind of the point with like a punky DIY type thing. Like it's okay if you're like not perfectly in time, you know what I mean? Like if it's sloppy and it's all over the place, like okay, cool, like that's not good. Like if it's way all over the place and everyone's like, it's not great. But if it's got that like that live, like we're playing together and it's not like perfect, I feel like that gives it gives a little bit more of a vibe to it. And especially if you record all in the same room or whatever, you want that live sound. Like I feel like records like that just hit differently. Like they do. And I to each their own, but like, I mean, when we record the Death's Hand stuff, like it's very precise, it's very specific. Like we cut in, we do a bunch of stuff that we have to do. But with bands like that, like I feel like it's way better to just like let it flow, like and if you want that more live sound, that more like groovy kind of like very slightly sloppy sound, like that's the best way to do that,
I totally agree with you, especially being a drummer. I've recorded to a click and live, and I think there's situations for both, like you're saying. Like I don't know, especially now, like maybe not so much in hardcore, but like certain heavy music, it sounds like overproduced. Like I know someone's playing it, but it doesn't sound like it. I like having, that kind of natural push and pull of a live performance. And certain songs just have like slightly different feel changes, like where it's maybe not so much a time, but there's just like a slight difference that you can only really capture live and not like having different metronomes.
Clicks and stuff. I was just about to say that. I was like, there's and my band it's exact. Like that's exactly it. Like there are parts where it's like you can't just like take a click like, oh, we go from this tempo to this tempo. Like no, that's just not that's not how it works. Like you can't get the same feel. And if you attempt to get the same feel by using a metronome or a click and it changes, it just doesn't sound right. Like it just doesn't. You can't emulate that unless you do it live, and like I feel like as a unit, especially everyone who's playing instruments, like you have to have you have to have like a really solid group of guys to be able to pull that off live. Like really solid, like everybody has to be on the same page. You can read each other. You all feel out whatever, if you want to hold out something a little bit longer and then you want to hit on one, like everyone has to be just on point with each other. And it's like, to be honest, it's kind of hard to find a lot of people that can do that. Like, I'm not saying there aren't a lot of talented musicians, there are, but to find people who like all want to kick in on one at the same time when you're not playing to a click isn't necessarily easy, like,
it's like,
so
like you said, when it's that really overproduced stuff, that when you then hear them live and they can't like play exactly like that, you're almost disappointed. Like I think my best comparison is first time I saw Roman Candle. Like their first EP isn't the best recorded, but then seeing them live, like they're tight as fuck, and it's like, damn, like okay, get like that live, like exactly, it gives that you almost a better feeling about the band as in comparison to being disappointed that they can't sound like this ridiculously overproduced thing they've put out.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that falls. I mean, mainly depending on the situation, but a lot of that falls on the drummer. It just does, like it depends, but also it depends on the part, because if like you go into his thing and then like the guitar player like starts his own little part and like then everybody kind of comes into that, then obviously that's up to like the guitar on when it changes from, one phrasing to another or whatever, but I feel like, a lot of that timing wise is on the drummer, especially if you just need like, you play a part and you kind of let it wash out and then you maybe you do 2 hi-hat clicks and then everybody comes in, or you know what I mean, whatever. Like there's a lot of that's on the drummer. But everybody's got to be just on it, and those are some of the coolest times is when you have like, I remember being a drummer and specifically like, oh, okay, like everyone's got to pay attention to this turn or this section or this part or whatever. And like, I don't know, I mean, we play with a click in Death's Hand for the music that we play specifically, because we have backing tracks and synth and stuff, so it's a little bit different for us, and we kind of have to play like, I mean, to a click. It's easier for us to play to a click, but I miss not playing to a click. I don't know. And just the organic like changes of doing, going from one spot to another spot or whatever. Like I definitely miss that. But
we care a lot about like the process that it took to build chemistry, because what's cool is like when we started Billy, myself, Anthony, and our other guitar player Tim Williams moved in together into an apartment in Alston in 2020. So like we work together constantly. We're listening to music, we're hanging out, we're going to the practice space once a week, and we just focused on being really well rehearsed together. So it's like you really start to understand. And then bringing Blake in, he got up to speed very quick. There was a time period here where Tim moved away, Blake moved in. It's like we're always together. We rehearse weekly. It's kind of like when things get hairy at a show, like maybe like we have a slight flub of a part or something, we always lock in again in like the next measure, because we've played these songs so many times. Like we've been playing these songs for 5 years. It just so happens we didn't put some of them out until January of this year.
Right.
Which, I think that goes a really long way. It's like just knowing that we're getting together weekly to play this music together because it's what we're doing for fun. It wasn't really doing the band thing. It's just like us hanging out as friends. And the fact that we get to do it in people's basements or at a library in Amherst or at a bar is sick.
Yeah.
I was going to say, seeing you at Bad Burger, like for being a new band or like newer to me hearing about you guys, like I could instantly tell like how locked in and like well together as like a unit you guys were playing. Like stage presence, I feel, is one of the biggest things that keeps like popping up, and like you guys together have it.
Thank you.
That means a ton, huh?
Yeah. We appreciate the opportunity to collaborate, because you're only as good as the people you can jam with, really.
Right. Yeah. That's the one thing that I On drums, I can I mean, I know you're obviously like sitting still, but with drums, like I feel like it's easier for me to like move around. And like when I'm on guitar, it makes no sense because on guitar you can move around the whole stage, but I literally don't. Like I don't. The last show we played, I did at Bad Burger. The last show I did, and I felt really good. And I was like, oh, cool. I moved around. Like I kind of felt good about myself. But every other show that I watch myself, I'm like, I'm a dumbass.
I'm just bobbing back and forth.
Like I'm just like I get in my power stance and don't move. Like this is stupid. Like what am
I joke doing? We had for a bit was that like Jerry and I would just stand on either side of the stage and we just like
bob back and forth, headbang a little bit, but then Anthony's animal was just going nuts.
Yeah. But like at the same time, there's a lot to it because like you're thinking about what you're playing, you're thinking about how you're playing it. Like me, I'm still like trying to figure out how to breathe correctly when I'm playing. Like it's one of those things you don't really think about, So like it's like you're saying that like a lot goes into a performance, and sometimes you'll hear a band be like, oh, like the crowd's kind of dead or something. Like so it's on you to get them going, Like if you're just standing up there like a stiff, like how are you going to expect anyone else to move,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like I feel like for some bands, like people need to see you move on stage, but like there are other bands too, though, that like just how they write makes people move. And like I've seen bands like on stage. Actually, I've seen some hardcore bands on stage where like no one's really moving. Like like
they don't have time to move. It's like the Jesse Blanchetts of the world. Their rights are so ridiculous that like you can't move, but it's fine because you're shredding.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I feel like it all depends on what you're playing. Like if you're playing fight riffs, then people will move, right? Like,
right.
Like
just two-step part after two-step.
Yeah, part. Just constant two-step part, and you could just stand still and do that, and everybody would move. Like,
just look menacing.
Yeah. Just mean mug everybody the whole time, and maybe you'll be good.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Oh shit.
Question 4. Who are some of your favorite local bands right now?
So we're big on Death Defier, we're super close with. We're looking forward to playing another house show with them soon. There's a lot of different bands.
Halo Bite, of course, like we mentioned.
Which they're upstate New York, but that's local to us. All right.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Jealous Mind, they're like Connecticut, Western Mass. Around here, like Clock Out from Worcester.
Yes, absolutely.
They kick ass.
We've kind of, what's cool about Billy especially is we can kind of fit on a lot of different bills. Like we don't necessarily have to be just punk or hardcore. So like a lot of these bands that record at the Bridge Sound and Stage, like Anthony's other band, Miracle Blood, we kind of, we're sisters, right? But we also hang with like Bedtime Magic, like the Freaks. Like there's a lot of cool bands that have recorded there that we did the Bridge to Disappointment shows that were at Deep Cuts, I think in beginning of 2024. Those were cool. That's from Constant Disappointment Records. So a lot of good bands on there, like Deprogrammer Cult. There's just so much good stuff going on in our scene.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like the fact that we got to play with Sophisticated Adult and Gum Scab.
Like, dude, yeah.
So badass. Yeah,
absolutely. I just saw them on Saturday.
Right. Yeah, like I was messaging with people who couldn't get in. Like they showed up. And, guess we just can't come to the show because it's too packed.
I went outside and it's like, oh yeah, there's a wait. Like you can try to come back in like 30 minutes. I was just like, damn. Like I got in like perfect timing, but once it cleared out a bit and more people were in, but it was the most packed I've seen the Shaskeen. I've never been to the Shaskeen before this year, but now I've been there like 6 times already. There's too many shows happening.
That's funny. Yeah, Gum Scab's from Maine. They're like an hour away from me, so they're good dudes. They're really good dudes.
It's really awesome because it's like not only are these like really nice people and like cool to hang out with and meet, but like just as musicians and stuff, it's really inspiring too. It's just cool that like so many bands, it seems like, are doing a lot and really getting out there and playing a lot of shows. And it's just really cool to see, and it's inspiring to us.
Yeah.
And see how long they've been doing it. Like
Yeah,
you said,
that's
like,
the big part.
seeing that they have a demo from like 8 years ago, and and now like they just put out an LP that they're like touring on, is like,
yeah,
okay, so this is super, you know, this is achievable.
Yeah.
Just follow like what other people do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like now, like right now, all you really have to do is if you just like, if you have something unique about your band, right? You have a tight band, you have something that's unique about your band that kind of pushes you just a little bit. Like it doesn't need to be like this, like, super, oh my God, they're, as long as it's something, like it's something that pushes you forward, whether it's your stage presence, your name, like what, like whatever, or a combination of all of the above, right? I feel like as long as you have that and you consistently push, and that whether that's recording music and putting music out, um, playing shows, connecting with other bands from other places to go play those shows. Like I feel like if you just put in the effort and you're a tight enough band and you're good enough guys, I feel like that's going to push you pretty far forward. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily like, make you blow up and get signed, but at least
doing
like
the right thing.
exactly, just like doing the right thing, doing it for the right reasons, and just like showing people how passionate you are about playing your music in front of other people, like, and I feel like if you have that, in some way, shape, or form, that people will connect and, really want to see your band grow, and will tell other people about it. That's how I heard about you guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like I personally didn't know about you until I heard about you guys from other people, or other people sharing or other people posting. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And then I took a look and I was like, oh shit, okay, that's awesome. Like, like they've got a lot, a lot. You check a lot of the boxes, right? You check a lot of those boxes, and like that's a cool thing to see. And I feel like exactly like you said, there's a lot of bands that are checking a lot of boxes right now. Like, you know what I mean? And that's rad,
And it's about being supportive of each other, right? It's like we're always down to bring gear, share gear. We'll be there on time. We're gonna stay until the show's over.
Yeah.
We're there to, headbang during your set because your band's sick, like
right. Yeah.
We're there for the hang, not just to play our music and bounce.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the key thing you said, Ed, was the effort. This day and age, it's like people want instant gratification and things to pay off overnight. And people don't see a lot of the work the bands put in, behind the scenes and what it takes to book a show or record an album or something.
Yeah.
And I'm just a guy, like, I believe in the power of the universe, where like if you're doing all these things and staying consistent, like it's gonna work out, especially if you do it in a genuine way, where like you're saying, it's like, hey, we're channeling emotions or doing this thing that's fun, and like if you connect with it, cool. If not, no hard feelings.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly it. I really feel like I really feel like, especially, and it's all this post COVID, right? There's so many people who, like, I feel like either stopped playing music or, whatever, I was one of those. I was one of those people. Like everybody needed something to grab onto. And I feel like a lot of the music people that either weren't in bands or maybe were in bands, but like there was just a huge influx of just people wanting to play music, getting in front of people, and pushing that stuff out. And especially in the DIY punk and hardcore scene, it was huge, and especially in Maine, massive. So I feel like that was definitely part of that huge push. But yeah, for sure. I mean, I love seeing all the love and support that a lot of people are giving. You obviously get some of the crap, which you're gonna get. You know what I mean? Like there's crap just flying everywhere with just through bands and venues and all that stuff. It just happens, and that's fine. You're gonna get that, but I feel like the overall vibe
is everyone just helping each other out, because it's like you're saying, like all this stuff happening in Maine. I'm going back to Gumscab, and like how you guys were saying, it's just like you playing with your friends. That's what Gumscab like goes to be. Like Ethan is just trying to like throw more shows for him and his homies. And then at the Gumscab show, Josh Stigmata Merch like came up to me. He's like, I love seeing what you're doing. Like I listen to the podcast, this, that, and the other. So it's like everyone just supporting each other. And it's like great things. And nicest dude, shout out Josh. Like, thank you for listening to our podcast.
Yeah, we're all working together.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and like Ashley said, like that's the fun part about this podcast is like we get to talk to all those people who are doing fun things and meeting fun people, and then we get to meet those fun people, you know, and we get to have those conversations. So it's like it's kind of like going to a show, but you get to stay in your house. So like I get to go have some hangs, but I'm literally in the comfort of my own house. So that's bad. But yeah, that's super cool. I'm really glad you guys are having like a blast and just like enjoying yourselves and like putting in the effort and the time, and like, you know, I can tell it's paying off, you know, and that's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate that. I mean, it feels like we've come a long way since that demo came out. I mean, we made a lot of friends. We've played a lot of shows. We put in a lot of work. We've also got really lucky.
Yep.
Really couldn't have asked for more so far.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are like very similar to Gumscab in that way. Like they like just started putting stuff out and pushed and just everything aligned for them. You know what I mean? Like everything, just their effort, their energy, you know, everything kind of just like propelled them forward. And I feel like you guys are like definitely in that same path and groove pushing forward. So I feel like, you know, like you said, like if you continue going to shows, playing shows, talking to people, and like, you know, having a good time, everybody will see who you guys are as people, who your band is, and they'll attach to it and push you forward even more. You know, I feel like you guys are definitely on that path for sure. There's no doubt about it.
See, I think a tour with Billy, Gumscab, and Halo Bite would be sick. So I just love that. Literally, like this, like your sound and Halo Bite sound like it. Once I saw you and Brian was wearing a Halo Bite shirt, I was just there like, wait a minute. This takes me back to something, but no, like that would be sick.
Love to.
Like I'll set it up.
We were going to shows for a little while where we'd show up and we'd be like, oh no, we all wore our Halo Bite shirts.
No.
Well, the same one too, the same orange shirt.
That's awesome. And you're all standing next to one another. Everyone's like, who the fuck are these guys?
Who are the traffic folks?
Why are they all wearing the same Halo Bite shirt? What the fuck?
Fanboys.
In the best way.
Yeah, in the best way. Exactly. Oh shit. Oh, that's good. All right. Let's go. Question 5. Who are some of your biggest musical influences as a band and individually for each of you?
So I think, I mean, to speak on Brian's behalf a little bit, right? Like we definitely have a little bit of a rooted sound in some Boston hardcore and like stuff like we really care about the Suicide File and like the Hope Conspiracy. Definitely like we have this, you know, we're like rock and roll punk hardcore, right? Like even like the Bronx has been a heavy influence of ours in the past. And then, but we have such a range, like, you know, Anthony, you can speak like, like death metal, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like my intro to like hardcore, like in Boston, was like Death Before Dishonor, On Broken Wings. Like this band Shere Khan was happening at the time.
Yes.
That's sick.
Like we all definitely brought like some influences and had crossover, but I think that's what kind of helps make this unique sound. For myself, like as a musician, like one of the first bands I was obsessed with was Slipknot. So like Joey Jordison was like a king to me, you know? That's definitely what, when I was starting to play in drums, who I was like looking at and stuff.
Absolutely.
That's cool. Yeah. I would say like, especially for drummers, like how could you not? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like how could you not? Like, I don't know. His style, like if you isolate his drums and just listen to his drums, like there's so many different playing styles that he incorporates in his drums. You're like, he could play for so many bands and sound great, you know, like it's just that's, I think, you know, yeah, he had speed, right? Like he was fast, but like at the same time, it's the groove that he had and like how he just incorporated that into Slipknot. Like it's Slipknot, but like I don't feel like Slipknot would be anywhere near where they are without his drums. I'm just saying, like,
no, not at all.
They have their unique sound, they have their unique look. Like I get it, but like you listen to his drums isolated and you're like, yeah, okay, like that's it's what encapsulates and just like literally holds the whole band together. Like you're like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like
I did photos for Slipknot last year, and I like wasn't even thinking like drummer wise or anything, and it was freaking Eloy Casagrande, and I just like stopped, like I like that heard him, and I knew like instantly, like it like did not need to see him, and amazing.
He's an absolute beast.
And yeah, he's almost on his own planet.
Yeah, he's definitely on a different planet. There's no doubt about it. He is a monster. Like.
Like you're saying with Joey though, like sure he has speed and is like a good metal drummer, but the beats he's playing are so unique. Like if you really listen in, like even on like Wait and Bleed, like he's doing a lot of weird, crazy shit, you know. And I feel like a lot of people don't pick up on it because it's just part of the sound. And
exactly,
you know, there's so much going on. With,
like 9 big dudes doing shit.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely Joey.
Well, and you got to imagine with that amount of people in the band, and especially with like multiple different percussive instruments along with drums plus the guitars, like how like how did he stand out? Like you would have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and he did, and he did like that. So that blows my mind just with that. You know what I mean? It's like he had to deal with so many different rhythms going on, like all at the same time, but then create the song and make sure that your part, you know, pushes forward and like pushes the song forward or slows the song back. So like, I mean, insane, but that's super cool. Yeah. And on Broken Wings, you said On Broken Wings, they're freaking awesome.
Oh fuck, dude.
I love them.
We might have to add we also have a pretty heavy AC/DC influence.
Oh yeah,
absolutely you do. Yeah.
It came through a little bit on the EP, like with the beginning of the first song and the end of the last one. We really had to go all in on the big finale, which
that's funny.
We've tried to capture the explosiveness of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing
rock and roll, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Rock and roll. That's awesome.
What about you, Blake? Who's influencing you?
Oh God. I mean, so I definitely have like a lot of punk and hardcore and metal influences and all that. But I mean, most of my musical influences like originate in kind of weird music. You know, I listen to a lot of like noise rock and post punk and techno and early industrial and new wave. And like even like new wave bands like Simple Minds, like those early records, like some of those bass sounds and those grooves, like first made me even think about bass. But yeah, I definitely pull a lot of inspiration and what like made me want to play bass, like from 80s, 90s, like noise rock, like Big Black and Shellac, Jesus Lizard, even Lightning Bolt. I don't play anything like Lightning Bolt, but yeah, it definitely made me want to grab a bass and it just appreciating that sound, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I feel like you don't necessarily have to have influences directly into the genre that you have to want to be a musician, you know? Like,
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, like, of course you're going to, like, you know what I mean? Like if you know, but yeah, I mean, I have so many influences that have nothing to do with like deathcore or anything like that, or you know what I mean, like literally, like I don't know, like I just picked up I have my part of my record collection over here, and that bag has some new records that I picked up today, and so that has 2 cream records that I just picked up. So like, yeah. So I'm like, I listened to that today. Like, you know, like Ginger Baker, absolutely insane drummer. Like he's a beast. Like, right. So it's like, and I think one of the first people that incorporated 2 kick drums.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and so, I mean, that right there is a metal influence. Like, you know what I mean? Like right off the bat, you know? So it's like, it's one of those things where like, yeah, you can take influence on any genre from any genre. Like really, you know what I mean? Like, depending on different rhythms. And yeah, that's why that's one of, I like hearing answers to that because people can sometimes be all over the place. You know, you'll get your typical like, oh yeah, I listen to hardcore and these are my hardcore influences, but that's like, that answer is really cool to hear. Like, oh yeah, industrial has massive impact on any heavy music. You know what I mean? Like you just listen to it and you're like, oh, okay. Like everybody wants to sound really big and really loud, you know, when you play in like certain bands, and like industrial and any of that stuff for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a super big fan of like newer industrial because now it kind of feels like they're cheating. But
yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
A lot of the older stuff for sure has a lot of like, I mean, for me would have a lot of pull towards that. I mean, we don't necessarily have industrial parts in our music, but we have a lot of synth stuff in our music, and that's like a super huge part of what we wanted to incorporate into our music. So it's like, those influences are definitely huge for me, like for sure. So that's really cool to hear about that. But nice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So last question. What do you guys got going on in 2025?
It's crazy. It's shaping up to be a pretty crazy year so far. So like this Thursday, for example, about like a week and a half ago, we got asked to open for Comeback Kid and Defeater at the Middle East downstairs.
Okay.
That's absolutely sick.
I mean, we all shit ourselves, you know. Like, is this a prank? Like, we
didn't think it was real until he posted the flyer like 2 days ago. So we were just like, we were in the van.
Oh my god!
Yeah, we went to Philly over the weekend, and we just spent the whole time in the van just refreshing the Instagram page. Like, is this real or not? But
that's fucking nuts, guys.
What?
That's Thursday, and then we go back to George and Leon's in Westbrook, Maine on Friday to get a beef.
Oh wait, are you guys actually? Are you playing a show there?
Yeah,
Friday.
Oh fuck! This Friday?
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
What are you doing Friday, Ed?
Westbrook is literally 50 minutes from me.
And you're busy.
You're not coming?
This is our second time going, so we'll be back. We'll be like, those sandwiches were too good.
They're amazing. They're amazing. Okay, I'm mad now. I need to look at this. I have to go. I want to take pictures of you guys.
Look, if you can, we love it. If not, we just love that you would love to be there.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I'm gonna.
There's just never shows like this close to Ed, so like, you have to make it work, Ed. You got.
I have to.
You got this.
That's what, the 28th.
Yeah, it's the last day of February.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
See, and this is why I love the podcast, dude.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I don't know how I'm like. It's funny because we played George and Leon's one time, and it was awesome. We had a blast. And we haven't been back yet. I hope we can play again soon. But for some reason, like, and I follow them and all that stuff, but like I've been missing a bunch of their show flyers when they pop up, and I don't know why. So I must have missed that one because I've been trying to like look out to see like do they still do shows, and I would see a couple ones randomly here and there, ones that I didn't necessarily want to go to. So I was just like, I'll pass on that one. But no, I'm gonna have to go. Who are you guys playing? Who are you guys playing with?
Agra, Horse Funeral, and Prefrontal Cortex. So it's gonna be like a grind bill. And then Billy.
So cool.
But
cool. That's so cool.
The promoter is Rulers of the Spear. So
yep.
You follow like ROTS booking.
I
think actually one of the bands is like his new band.
Yeah.
Said.
It could be.
He was like, I want you guys to play with us. And we were like, well, we don't say no to shows. So
yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm gonna have to make that trip.
Yeah.
I have my camera right there. I'll come and take photos.
You're taking more photos, Ed. You're doing it.
I need to do it. That's the thing. It's like I miss the the Pain of Truth show in Biddeford.
Dude,
I missed.
I missed it in Concord. I'm like maybe 30 minutes, but Wednesday did not work out.
Yeah,
they're gnarly.
Yeah, I missed that. And I was kind of mad, but that's okay.
Yeah, other than that, like we got a house show in March. Couple gigs like
local. We're back at the Silhouette Lounge here in Alston. Like, that's our spot. We're playing there again in April. We're still piecing some stuff together. We're trying to do a couple weekenders in like May or June, but still, taking things as they come, going to practice, trying to write new songs, just having fun.
Nice.
Absolutely. Nice. Jamming with the guys.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome. Cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I said it earlier, but it's definitely cool to see bands who are really putting in the time, the effort, the energy, and seeing things starting to kind of piece themselves together for you guys. Like I definitely think you guys have a bit of momentum, and I feel like you're pushing into it. You know what I mean? Like you're going with it and you're pushing into it. And I feel like if you continue with that, you guys are definitely on your way to do some cool things. I mean, you already are. Like, so that's super rad. That's really cool. Right. Yeah, that's awesome. I hope you guys keep with it, because the stuff sounds awesome. Stage presence is great. I'm definitely going to see you this weekend, so that'll be even better.
Cool.
Yeah. So
we try. We just want to be ready for every opportunity. Just keep the train moving.
Yeah. I feel like that's important. And if you have the time and the energy to do that, and just keep pushing, like, there's not a whole lot that can stop you. So absolutely. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for having us.
Yeah,
love the podcast. This is really good for our scene.
Thank you.
What you guys do.
Yeah, we're trying.
Whatever we can have, like, these conversations, not at shows, which there are so many shows happening this weekend. So if you're listening to this, once you're done, get to whatever show you can. Thursday and Friday, Billy. Saturday, get to Bad Burger, please.
Yep.
That'll be a good show. People will come out to that.
I'm excited. I get to see Russ this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah, nice.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Tell him Billy says hi.
Yeah,
I absolutely will.
Awesome.
Who is Billy?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody.
That'd be hilarious. Billy who? Come on. That's awesome. But guys, really appreciate it. Thanks for having a really fun night. It's been great. I'll definitely see you guys this weekend. And if you haven't taken a listen to Billy, make sure you go and take a listen, check them out. Go to their shows, support them in any way, shape, or form you can. But that's it for tonight, guys. Really appreciate you guys coming on. And thank you everybody for taking a listen or a watch. And we'll catch you guys next week for episode 23. So thanks again, and everybody have a good night.
Have a good night.
See you guys.
Bye, folks.